It's a part of Gaza where people should have felt relatively safe. The southern part of the Strip is where Israel had ordered more than 1 million Palestinians to flee, away from their targets in the north. But last night was the worst so far in the town of Khan Yunis. Israel reserving its right to pursue Hamas targets anywhere, with devastating consequences for civilians.
Nowhere is safe, really, in Gaza. And we also notice people who were in the south evacuated and walked to the south, and they're going back to the north because they have nowhere else to go, because the shelters are they're overwhelmed.
Dima lost 13 members of her immediate family, her surviving siblings traumatized.
When we moved to Khan Yunis with my family, there were 17 of us. Then we became 4. I can't understand how just the 4 of us will live and how we will return to our home in Gaza City after 17 of us used to live together.
Also stuck in the south, Stephanie and her young family from Blackpool. They moved to Gaza a year ago, now caught up in a war they didn't bargain for.
I hope for leaving, inshallah. We've experienced bombing and planes flying over us and buildings destroyed, all sorts of horrible things. It's not been a good experience.
The UN has helped to organise 2 consecutive days of around 20 trucks crossing Gaza's border with Egypt. Hopefully another today carrying basic medicines and food aid, but a lot less than the 500 daily trucks the UN says are needed. After more than a fortnight of bombing that has reduced parts of Gaza to rubble, Israel's army is ready for the next stage, the anticipated land invasion of Gaza to completely eliminate Hamas as a future threat to Israel.
We are using all the time available to us to improve our readiness and our ability to carry out the ground maneuver in the best possible way.
Israel's allies support its right to self-defense, but global leaders coming here emphasize the need for restraint, concerned about a wider regional conflict. And while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu won't want to seem indecisive over his vow to crush Hamas, he does have other considerations. With more than 200 Israeli and international hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza, some of their relatives want the Israeli government to make a deal. America's President Biden, whose opinion matters in Israel, has also called the release of hostages his highest priority. Trapped on a tiny sliver of land between the border and the sea, the fate of the hostages and Gaza's 2.1 million residents hangs in the balance, dependent on what Israel and also what Hamas does next. Willow Davis, BBC News, Jerusalem.